All right, what's good, everybody? Just wanted to give it a couple seconds, let people join on before we begin. Definitely wanted to jump on the charts with everybody, look at the markets, see if there's any opportunities that we could look for today. Obviously, answer any and all questions that you guys may have. I really do want to make sure that, again, I'm giving back as much time to the trading community as I can. And again, I really do want to build our community or our trading community based off of just pure value, profits, consistency, and transparency. You know, those are the biggest things that I believe is what makes anything successful and anybody successful. So I do want to lead by example in those things. So again, thank you guys for being on today. I do appreciate you guys joining. I know that we had our Facebook group or a Facebook page. That was where we were doing our sessions, but I randomly got banned from that account or from that page rather for a few days. So we're taking the time to jump on here on YouTube, get on our session, really identify some things, answer any and all questions that you guys may have, and really go from there. So if you do have any questions at any point, feel free to let me know. I definitely will be answering any questions that you have. I'm taking a look at the chat so I can actually make sure that I give as much value and stay relevant to what you guys would like to look at and what questions you have as well. And if you do have any specific markets that you would like to take a look at for me to break down, give some analysis on, I can definitely do that for you as well. I just want to make sure that, again, I'm speaking on something that's relevant to what you guys would like to take a look at as well. So I'll be looking at Forex markets, and I'll also be taking a look at the futures markets, which is more along the lines of just NAS 100 or NQ, if you will. If there is any opportunities in this market, I have my Top Step account here ready to be traded. So if there is anything, which I might get into some trades, depends on how everything goes. As you can see here, it's green, so it shows that I am positive, I am up for the day. As far as trading my Top Step account. So if there is an opportunity, I might place that. If not, I won't risk it because I am pretty good for the day, I would think, as far as profits are concerned. But if there is anything, I'll make sure that I get in that as well. And obviously, I'll be looking at a lot of Forex markets because this is where I'll be marking up charts, laying down a lot of information and just a lot of knowledge. This knowledge here can be translated into any market. Everything I do here in Forex, I do in the futures markets for our successful and consistent trading even there. So everything you see here can be used elsewhere as well. So I do want to take a quick look at gold. Gold being one of my favorite markets to trade. It's a very high volatile market. Usually when it's trending, when that market is moving, it's going to be moving in that direction for a pretty long time. I would say for a long time, really depends, but usually there's a lot of great volatility and opportunities in this market. So I do want to take a look at this and really mark this up and get a strong idea of what could be potentially happening here in this market right now. For me, obviously, we're going to jump onto a higher time frame. That's the bigger. That's always the bigger picture. That's the biggest thing, or that's the bigger time frames, the higher time frames. Gives you the bigger picture, right? And I can see here, and this isn't like a great trend line, but you can see the direction of this market. It's currently bullish. So with this market being bullish, I do want to identify if we can find any other bullish opportunities as well. If we can, that'll be great. If not, really not worried about it. So what I can see here is, again, this bullish opportunity and the one thing, or the bullish market, if you will. So if I can see this market being truly bullish like we currently see, is there anything else that I can identify that might make this not as bullish as I assume? We can see here that there is a head and shoulders pattern. Let me go ahead and add that here. So this head and shoulders pattern is pretty relevant, right? Because this is going to show me that if buyers were still in this market, this pattern wouldn't be available. This pattern wouldn't be here. And the one thing I am looking at is we already have a break of that initial neckline. We can see the break of that neckline there. Oh, where did my trend line go? There we go. So we have the break of the neckline there, and we did come back down to this level of structure to really test and give us that initial correction. But we have tested that neckline, and we have also tested this level of structure here. So what used to be a level of support is acting as a level of resistance now alongside that neckline break, that trend line, if you will. So if I scale down to another smaller time frame, being the 4 hours, kind of been stuck there in a sense, right? But we did come back and we created a double top, being there and being there. So since we have created that double top, that's also showing me that sellers are very much wanting to take over and buyers are no longer welcome in this market, at least for the meantime. So what I am going to do is I'm going to add a level of structure here, because if that's broken, that will confirm that that'll confirm the double top and that sellers in fact do want to take over. And obviously we do have another structural low, that structural low being down here. But obviously, if this is broken here, I would pretty much assume immediately that this will be broken pretty easily as well. I don't see that really holding much longer. So when we scale down to a smaller time frame, even being the 1 hour, we can see even more confirmation that sellers want to take over, being this bearish engulfing candlestick here. So that bearish engulfing candlestick is obviously something important, and then obviously the break below that level. So even now, I think we're coming back to test this level even here. So in my honest opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if gold, if this is a potential entry as well to the downside for gold. So that's a very good little spot as far as a potential entry is concerned for gold. I do think that this will continue to push down a little bit lower. We did have news earlier, but this wasn't based around news. This is actually just the market taking over. So volatility does seem as if gold is shifting to the downside. So in my honest opinion, this might actually be a little entry spot. Let's do this. So this could be a potential sell entry where we are currently at. Now, I personally do not like to trade the breakout of a candle. That's never, or the breakout of a structure rather. But what I do like is that we have broken below and we're coming right back to this level of structure to test, right? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to, sell at this exact moment at this exact price. But if we start labeling and start identifying some key factors or some technical factors, that makes it look a little bit better, right? So I do think that if gold can't come back at least that 38.2, we have a strong case for a sell entry right around this area. So we'll be something like this. And if that's hit and broken, obviously it will just do something like that. But I do think gold, especially with how it looks right now, we do have a strong case for potential sells. So if you are looking at gold, if you're looking at a potential trade on this, or you were just looking at gold in general, this is something I would identify as a pretty good case for an entry. Now, obviously, that's not going to be, to the pip or, that's exactly what's going to happen, because that's very subjective. When we start adding our confluences to make things a little bit better, maybe. So let's see, because it could just like chill around here, hit the 38.2, hit the trend line, and then push down much lower. But I doubt that's the case, because gold is very volatile. I would be surprised. I would be very surprised if it just gets stuck here and waits that long. So even here, if it comes to 38.2 level of structure, we start seeing some candle confluence. We obviously want to see the behavioral factors of what the candles are going to do when it gets to that level of structure and price. But when we get there, it could definitely show us what's going to happen next. And I do think that will continue to push down much lower. So just taking a quick look at gold. If there is anything you guys want me to take a look at, feel free to let me know. I am taking a look at the comments. I know we've got some people in here, so I definitely want to make sure I'm staying relevant to you guys. Now, I do want to take a look at USD/JPY as well. Now, this is a signal that I put out for legacy students, to be completely honest, and this is going very well for us right now. So I did want to take a quick look at this, and I also got us in a trade for GBP/USD that I do want to take a look at. So I'll kind of go over these two trades. And actually, you guys can just see here real quick in our Discord the big lot signals. So I told them to sell USD/JPY, and I told them to buy GBP/USD. I do want to go over these trades real quick just to see how they are going and see how they're doing real quick. So there wasn't really much of a technical factor behind these trades, to be completely honest. This is more along the lines of just identifying a few things with the weird little strategy that I have. But the one thing I did like is that we did come back to this level of structure. Everything is going to revolve around price, right? Everything is going to go to a price point. So structure is where you should be looking for your potential entries. And if we look left to get right here, and especially being on a 4-hour time frame, we can see right here that this market has been respected, or this level of structure has been respected pretty easily. So when I saw that scaling down to a smaller time frame, the one thing I don't really look at is like order blocks in it or anything. But the one thing I do like to take a look at is when you're looking at structure and the market is coming back to price, it's usually coming back to where a strong reaction has happened. So even though I'm looking at that resistance point, there could be a strong entry, and that entry is based off of this candle right here, this bullish candle that I'm highlighting with the with this box, if you will. So coming back to that price point, this is where the sellers started to come into play. So this was the last bullish candle before sellers took over. Usually price is going to come back to that point and give you a reaction, and it's going to be the same reaction that previously happened here, which was sells. So we did end up getting into our sells at this area. I think our entries should be like somewhere around here, because I did put this in our auto trader as well. So our entries roughly around that area, and our take profits are going to be down here. and then our stop loss right above the highs here. So I'm not too sure if you guys could place that trade. It is very much late, you know, as far as the entry is concerned, for when I gave it to students to when you guys are going to place it. But you know, I do believe that even if you end up in a little bit of drawdown, this trade is very good to the downside. So I did want to take a look at USD/JPY, and I did want to take a look at GBP/USD. And I do apologize if you hear like gardening, everything outside the house it might get very loud. So I do apologize. I'm doing a bunch of work. Thank you for the live. Yeah, absolutely, Dwayne. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, they're definitely going to get loud with the gardening and shit outside. It's so bad. It gets really loud. But I do appreciate it. So I did want to take a look at GU. Go over this trade and see how it's doing. Obviously, definitely right now it's in profits because our trade was initially down here. And I did actually, again, just so that way you see, did tell them to buy GBP/USD. So they're very much in profits. I also put this in the auto trader for everybody as well, so they should be in profits with this as well. So I do want to go over this and give you the reasoning on why we took the initial buys here on GBP/USD and why we will be holding this for the meantime. And I know gold is looking as a sell, but I always trade everything as an individual. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because gold correlates with the US dollar. When gold is selling, GU should be selling as well. But in this case, it's not. It's its own little individual. It's buying. So we're going to go and follow that the money in this market. So the one thing, again, that I am looking at for this market is if I scale out to always scaling out to a higher time frame, overall, this market is pretty bullish, at least from those lows to these highs. And we, in fact, did come back to this level of resistance previously, and we sold off pretty heavily. But I do think that the selling is over. If we just look left to get right here, we can see again just structure. Everything is based around price. You know, the way that I like to trade and the way that I like to educate and teach is just a very simplistic approach to the market. You're not going to have these weird indicators. You're not going to have a bunch of crazy things, you know, to learn how to trade or to place a profitable trade. Everything should revolve around price. And then so when the market gets to a specific price, you identify the actions that take place there. So when we're here on the daily, we can see here on the 4 hour just a little bit more. So we're at structure. We can see at least on the daily, if I go back, structure, right? We can see if we look left, structure to the left. If I go ahead and identify wick, structure, right? Everything to the left is showing me that the price could not be broken, or the market has bought from here before. It's probably going to buy from here again, right? Or there's some type of structure and price that must be respected, and the market is going to have a reaction from there. And we can currently see that, right? And again, when we scale down to a 4 hour or a smaller time frame, being the 4 hour time frame, we can start to see a little bit more. What is it that we can see? These wicks on these candles, right? The bodies of the next candles, they're small. They're not showing much conviction to the downside anymore. And then out of nowhere, we're getting a bullish engulfing candle right there, showing us that buyers are in fact looking to take over. But we need to identify some key factors. And what was one of those key factors for the initial buy? Well, not only that we're at structure, not only the fact that we had that bullish engulfing candle, but at the time we had a double bottom. So we had a double bottom, or have a double bottom. And the one thing I would like to leave with you guys, if you never join another session, but there's one thing that you leave as far as information is concerned, that way you could become a better trader, is when you have a double bottom, or the double bottom and or double top, doesn't matter, either or. But in this case, we have our double bottom. When we break above that level of structure right there, right, you can see here. Since we broke above that, that confirms that buyers are in fact taking over. So not only did we get our trade early, we now have confirmation to hold that trade for much longer. So we're looking at a pretty decent setup. I mean, our entries are somewhere down here, if I'm correct. Our stop losses were right at the lows there, so just about 20 pips. And our take profits all the way up here. So just about 180 pips. That's a really good risk to reward. You know what I mean? That's a very good risk to reward. So obviously, if you guys would like to place that trade, that's up to you guys completely. The entry would be way off. You guys would be late on that entry if you're not obviously within the Discord and everything. But I do think that even with a little bit of drawdown, it will overall reach our take profit. So even if it does this, I still think it'll end up meeting those highs. So that could be another trade setup that you guys would like to place. If you would like to, by all means, feel free. But that's just something I did want to take a look at as far as a trade that we're currently in, just to give a real example, right? An example that is currently working for us, and kind of go over the reasonings on why we are taking that, or why we took that trade, and why we should be holding that trade as well. The one thing that I've noticed is, placing a trade is one thing, but managing it is another. So managing it and identifying some things that helps you manage it is very important as well. So just like right now, we can see that we should and hopefully continue to be more bullish and break above this area of structure, because that will confirm that this double bottom even more. So that's helping me manage this trade to help me stay in this much longer and feel confident in this trade to make me more money. So I do think that with GU, we continue to hold this trade for more profits. I almost spilled my damn Red Bull. So again, and I am taking a look at the comments and everything. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I do want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance and really helping you all to the best of my abilities. But I do want to come back to gold and see what we got here. Gold being a very, very volatile market and one of my favorite markets to trade. So let's see. It does seem as it's gaining more momentum to the upside. So that's why for trading, I'm always going to put a potential idea, right? Not, oh, we're selling here immediately. Once you get to a specific point or price in the market, you're not just immediately placing the trade. You have to wait for it to really develop. So that's what we're going to wait for here on gold. I did want to see if there was an entry on that, but not so far, or not so much yet. And yeah, a good little entry here on USD/JPY for legacy students as well. That should be a really good trade setup. We're looking at about 213 pips on that, and again, our risk was only about 47, almost 50 pips, so not that bad. And just rule of thumb: anytime I'm trading, I'm always putting my stop loss above or below the last level high, or low, right? But in this case, it's the next level high. So I'm having my stop losses just above those highs, and then our take profit, as you can see, just very common, very simple approach, is just at the next level structure. Now, this is just a first take profit, which is a very big take profit. The second take profit, again, is at the next structural low, which is here, and then I'm pretty sure you get the point, right? The next take profit will be at these structural lows there. So with USD/JPY working in our favor for legacy students, that should be a really good swing trade for us to be holding for the remainder of the day, and could be for the remainder of the week, to be completely honest. And these are in the auto trader for you guys: USD/JPY, GU, and I forgot which, and I think USD CAD. So taking a look at USD CAD now, we are in sells on this as well, at least in the auto trader. I didn't put that out as a signal, I don't think. Okay, yeah, I didn't put that as a signal for you guys in the Discord. But the one thing I am looking at is a continued sell, especially now. This is again just managing the trade, and also what we are, or why I have my stop losses the way that I do. So our entries here, if I'm correct, in the auto trader, should be just roughly around this area, and our stop loss is right above here, right, just above these highs. Now, the reason why I put my stop loss above these highs is because I always want to make sure that I give my trade a little bit of room to breathe, that I'm not just placing the trade and then immediately getting stopped out. Because I see a lot of individuals when they trade, their stops are like that, their stops get hit, and it comes right back to entry or what could have been a profitable trade. So our stop loss is right above those highs, and our first take profit obviously right there, so about 63 pips, and then obviously further down as structure goes. But the one thing I do like about this, and this goes back into managing the trade, and also the good thing of having a stop loss that is not so close to your entry. I do like this head and shoulders pattern that is now formed on this market, right? So this being the left shoulder, that being the head of the pattern, this being the right shoulder. Now here's a tip that I want to leave everybody with as well. Another one, right? Anytime you are trading a head and shoulders pattern, I know the rule of thumb is that the entry or the neckline break of that pattern should be your entry and confirm that sellers are taking over and it is a full-fledged reversal. But the one thing I've noticed is price respects the right or the left shoulder price the most. Why is that? Because when you have a head and shoulders pattern, the head of the pattern is a fake out of structure. It's not supposed to be up there. You can call it a stop hunt if you will. but the actual resistance is that left shoulder price, and that's why it's respected on that right shoulder here. So I do think that if you guys want, again, I'm also in USD CAD sells. This is a very good opportunity for you guys to place a sell on USD CAD. The stop loss would be going right above the structural highs here. Just rule of thumb, right? So just about 35 pips, if you will. And then obviously your first take profits would be right down here. So if you would like to take a sell on USD CAD or use this analysis that I've currently conjured up for you guys real quick, feel free. You know what I mean? I do think that this will push down much, much lower. Especially with how the dollar is weakening. It doesn't seem as if the dollar is going to be that strong for that long. Bars all day. But I do believe that with how this looks, USD CAD does have the potential to push down much lower. And your overall take profit, I think it would even reach these lows here, would be about 160 pips, just about. So if you do want to place a sell on that, feel free to do so. I do think that USD CAD will push down much, much lower, which also means that gold, in my honest opinion, I think that might even just fucking be more bullish. I probably won't even look for sells on that. You say Euro USD? Probably the same thing that we're looking at with Gbpjpy USD, right? More potential buys. Because if the dollar is going to be losing value, if gold or everything looks as if it, it's more bullish in a sense, or the dollar's losing its initial value, I do think that even EU would be more bullish. Now, I'm on the daily time frame here on EU, and being on the daily time frame, again, is going to give me a bigger picture. Now, even though we haven't reached these structural lows here, I would still assume and think that the market is going to give us some type of pullback or a bullish move, because when we scale down to scale to the 4 hour, we had such a gigantic impulse with no correction, and that correction is now starting. So I would at least assume that since we have reached these lows here, we get a correction. Now, obviously, back to specific points that I'm highlighting. Now, if we take a Fibonacci, swing high, swing low, we're going to be able to identify some, oh, look at that, 61.8 perfectly on that structure that I marked right there. So I do believe, for at least the time being, EU will be in a corrective mood and at least reach this area of structure here. And if that's broken, obviously we look at the highs up here. Let me get rid of some things so it doesn't look that crazy. So yeah, I do think that even with EU, the majority of what we should be looking at is going against the dollar, the US dollar rather, right? I don't think the US dollar has enough strength to really push this market much further. I do think that across the board, as the US dollar decreases in value and loses a little bit of its power, all of these markets will be bullish against it. So EU will be bullish, GU will be bullish, USD/JPY, as we saw before, will be extremely bearish as well. So I do think that if you're going to be looking at anything with EU, you're looking at more potential longs or potential buys. Now, the only thing I would say is if you're looking to sell, potential sell point, and same thing up here. This obviously being the better potential sell right up here, right? Because that would be a very cheap trade, if you will. Cheap trade meaning that if you were to place a trade, let's say you did sell, let's say right here, your stop loss would be very close and then your take profit would be extremely big because your risk reward is minimal in that sense. And now if we were to place it down here, that's completely different, right? Stop loss up there, first take profit, that's not always the best idea. So this would be the cheaper trade and the better idea if in fact we were to look to sell EU. But besides that, I will look for strong buys. This doesn't look like it wants to stop just yet. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Or any other markets, I am taking a look at the chat. I definitely got you guys. If not, I won't keep you guys on too long. I actually do have to run errands as well. I just wanted to make sure that I'm jumping on these calls. I'm really making sure that we give some time back to the community. I know within this trading community it's very hard, it's difficult, especially if you don't have, I would say, a trading buddy, if you will. It's always good to have somebody to trade with, somebody else's outlook and perception on things, just so that way if you're not seeing something the right way, that person might be, and it kind of gives you a better idea and clear vision going into your trading day. But I do want to make sure that, again, I'm answering any and all questions that you guys may have. If there is a market, or if you are trading and you're like, damn, I don't know what I should be doing, then obviously I can give back some of that knowledge and really help you out to the best of my ability. And look at that. As I was saying, if you guys wanted to take that trade on USD CAD, that is pushing in profits for you guys nicely. What else did I say? I know USD JPY was something as well, but if you did place that trade, that's also pushing in direction for you guys. And GU is looking beautiful to the upside for us as well. So yeah, if you were able to place those trades, even though the entries were a little bit off, those were signals that I posted for students and entries I put in our auto trader. But you guys should still be in small profits on that. If you did in fact buy GU and you sold USD JPY, you could be in profits on that. And then obviously, what was the other one? It was GU, USD JPY. EU is definitely going to be pushing. But yeah, if you did take those trades, you guys are good. You guys should be in small profits on those. Obviously, nothing on gold. There's no trade on gold as of right now. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, guys. I am taking a look at the comments. If not, I'll conclude for today. I do actually have to run some errands for today. I got a bunch of things to do, but I do want to make sure, again, that I'm giving back as much time to our trading community and to you guys to really make sure that you guys are as profitable as possible. And ooh, look at that. Damn, I was going to start buying NAS too, and that just started ripping to the upside. So I was going to look for buys on this, but I didn't think it was going to give us the buys right there. NAS 100 or NQ, trading futures. This has just decimated any and all previous highs, and it has created another high, another historical high. So if you are trading futures, if you are trading this market, do not sell. There's no sells in this market. This is just going to continue to be extremely bullish. I would not go against that market whatsoever. So yeah, I would just continue looking for strong buys in this market as well. But yeah, any questions? If so, feel free. If not, we'll conclude for today. I did want to just take a look at some charts. Really make sure that we are moving along steadily. But let me double check some things as well before we conclude. Yeah, those are working really good. And now in our auto trader, this is in profit, so should be looking really nice. Actually, let me check my phone. Yep, they are $31 in profits. So good stuff. So yeah, if you had any, let me go back to the YouTube channel as well. All right, just want to make sure I'm not missing any comments, if anything. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If not, I will conclude for today. Not really much on a Monday, right? Mondays are usually pretty slow. Mondays, the volatility is not the best. I say that, and then NAS 100 just rips upside, making more historical highs. But I do like the markets more along the lines on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So Mondays are usually meant for just marking up the charts, identifying what you could be doing. And look at that, coming to the DXY, the dollar is losing a bunch of strength. So yeah, I see continued buys on EU. I see continued sells on USD JPY. I don't see any sells on gold anymore. So yeah, if you are trading against or trading with the dollar, as far as the markets, I would say go against the US dollar. It is losing strength. So you should be buying EU, you should be buying GBP USD, you should be selling USD CAD, right? You should be doing everything against the dollar. So right now it does look that way. So if you guys are placing trades, make sure that you're going in the right direction. But yeah, doesn't seem like anybody has any questions. My man Dwayne Moody, I appreciate you. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate you asking for Euro USD. Hopefully, I was able to give you some good confluence on that and a good idea, so that way, obviously, you can become profitable if you do decide to trade this market as well. But yeah, we'll conclude for today. I'll be back on tomorrow as well. I won't have any errands to run. Everything will be done pretty easily today, so I won't have anything to do tomorrow. So we'll be on much longer. We'll be able to identify some better opportunities as well. Hopefully, we get a bunch of people on, so that way we have some questions going, some markets going as well. So that way I can stay relevant to what you guys would like to learn and see. But with that being said, guys, we'll conclude for today. I'll catch back on with you guys first thing tomorrow evening or afternoon. For legacy students, if we do have a session in the evening, I will let you know as well. But yeah, with that being said, guys, appreciate you all. Thank you all. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.